Maven Interviews are all about capturing people's diverse passions and special skill sets. Bob Garlick and Andrew McGivern chat with local and international specialists to find out what they do and why they do it.
Hey everybody, it's Bob here again. Unfortunately, Andrew has some tech problems, so he won't be joining us tonight. So once again, a Maven show, and I have Bosco Anthony, and he is an amazing guy. He basically came into Vancouver and dominated by doing what he basically doing what he preaches, I think would be a good term. You got to get out there, you got to meet people, you got to be social, and he is being that and more. So Bosco, let's we were talking earlier before we got the recording going, and we got excited about talking about content because I do content, you do content. But before we get into that, how about a little background? Where are you from? What are you about? And how did you become such a superstar?
Well, thanks for having me on your show, Bob. I am originally from Tanzania, East Africa. I moved here about 11 years ago and started getting into the digital internet marketing space about 8 years ago. Worked for a bunch of other companies and then eventually built my own boutique operation. And in the last 2 years, I would say was really the time when my business really just broke out. Mm-hmm. And the big thing was really just exposure and branding and speaking. I did over 40 speaking keynotes and panels and interviews last year that really highlighted and elevated me to do more on the stage. And I got to share the stage with guys like Gary Vaynerchuk during Social Media Week, which really elevated my career as well as a speaker. And I've also, I would say, focused on content in the last year. Our blog was nominated one of the best business blogs in Vancouver, and I really focus now on digital storytelling, context marketing, as well as content strategies that we deploy for businesses and brands.
Hey, that's excellent. And at the end there, you got in some great gobbledygook words. They're saying, what does that mean? So I think that would be a nice basis for our first set of questions. Is sure. Why is content different now than it was 3 months ago or 2 months ago? Because things happen so fast.
Well, I mean, let's face it, Google's been dominating the digital web space for the longest period of time. And, many people have even gone as far as saying that Google has taken over the yellow pages in many ways. If you're not on Google, you're not really running a business online. So with that, the quality of Google searches and results, we call them SERPs, which is search engine result pages, really have to be quality in that sense. And so Google's put a really big emphasis on content in the last few years. And a lot of us have been preaching about it for the last 12 to 14 months. But lately, I've been finding that context really overpowers content. You could just be writing just to rank for stuff, but if people aren't reading it, it's not really helping your cause or your business. So I think now more than ever, you need to be having content that's compelling, engaging, and most importantly, providing a reaction or a form of engagement.
Let's drill down on context a little bit. You kind of did that there, but in a nutshell, what for you is context when you're talking about content for people, for value?
I would be the first to really change my vision of this. I think when I first got into the content game, I was writing content for my own brand as well to really brand myself on authority. And so the writing and the style of writing was really based out of giving away free resources for businesses to the point of overwhelmment with the intention that they would come back for me to really help them deploy what I gave away. Yeah. But as you know, digital marketing isn't sexy. And so in order for you to do that, in order for you to make it more compelling, you've got to really tell a story or make it really interesting. And so in the last few months, I've noticed that the content that I wrote with passion and with the ability of blending and integrating other visuals like video, audio, even things like this podcast really got a lot more engagement and value, and also a lot more face time in front of the viewer and the audience. So I think that I've gone through a metamorphosis, and as you know, I always do what I teach as opposed to teach what I do. And so one of the things that I've been really focusing on is really applying it to my own brand. And so the biggest thing that I've been focusing on in the last few months is really trying to get eyeballs, really trying to get engagement and reactions. And I found that through proper digital storytelling, which I will define shortly after, it's really brought about the social reactions and engagement that I've been looking for, and any brand should be looking for.
Is it tough to get your head around that? Like we're kind of cutting edge people trying new stuff before it becomes popular. Is it hard to explain it to clients because it's so new?
Yes and no. I think that, I've worked with all different ages and all different spectrums. And I think that apart from a learning curve, which most people inherit, I think that it's also the willingness to do it. And some people have great intentions, but their follow through is really tough. And also timing and priority. If you don't have a marketing budget, if you can't afford to pay for a writer, then you're really dedicating this time on your own, not only learning this, but also doing it on your own, which can take a huge learning curve and a lot of time. But if you're working with a business or a brand, they have a budget to work with content agencies or work with content tribes or even work with digital marketers to help rank for such authority. I mean, from my understanding, you and I both have worked with different other brands to provide them with content as well. In some ways, we've adopted the content agency.
Yep, absolutely. Well, it's. I think the hard thing is they all say, "Where's the ROI?" And it's like, dude, don't get stuck on stuff like that. And what I'm finding is I'm going back to old style meetings, say like, how long have you been doing radio? Oh, we've been doing radio for 20 years, or we've been doing radio. And you have great results. Oh, we get fantastic results. And what did you get for the first month of radio? I don't know. You got nothing. Trust me. The reason you have amazing radio right now, or radio works great as a tool to communicate to your target demographic, is because you've been doing it for so long. If you've been doing social media for 20 years, which is impossible because it hasn't been around that one, you would be rocking social media and you'd be making a ton of money with it. So as soon as you kind of explain on that level, they go, well, okay, maybe we'll give it a try. So it's a trust issue. They don't understand it. It's changing and evolving so much, and they have a hard time trusting it.
Well, I think in the past, content was about authority, and today it's about influence more than authority. And I think influence brings about engagement, and engagement brings about reactions, and reactions bring about conversions. So if I look at the metrics here, we're looking at 4 systematic approaches. I think we start off with, like I said, the influence, the engagement, and then the reaction, and then finally the conversions. And I think that, yes, we do have to pay attention to metrics like Google Analytics on your blogs and all your other programs out there. But content is evolving as well, and the platforms are evolving as well, which I should probably define as your next question is, what is digital storytelling?
Yeah, exactly.
And digital storytelling today is really the transfer of information in different mediums and platforms with the use of audio, video, visuals, as well as text and imagery as well. So, back in the day, an interview was basically as simple as a text interview with simple bolded questions and inverted or italic answers. But today, you'll find an interview having an audio file, having a video file, having some pictures as well, maybe some behind the scenes, or why the interview came about, or how it came about, or better yet, a little bit about the show. So I think that integrated marketing is now where content is turning to, and provided you have a valid call to action, or you have a journey, I think that you're going to get the results you're looking for. Most people forget that you have to create a user experience, and you've got to put yourself in the shoes of the audience. And most people write content because they want to rank for authority, so they write content based on their vision as opposed to the user's journey. And I think the user's journey today defines metrics.
Let's define user's journey. What does that mean?
In my opinion, it's the journey of a web audience that's coming to your website or your platforms. So, I, for example, had a website with an incredible amount of information. I think I wrote over 380 blogs in the last year and a half. The challenge is that even on my own, if I was to critique my own site, there really wasn't a defined call to action. Sure, there was a services page and a contact us page, but there really wasn't a defined call to action. And I think that, in building our new marketing agency and a few other platforms right now, we're really focusing on a call to action apart from the resources. And you almost need to tell people where to go and what to do. And I think if your website doesn't have that element, and you don't consider where they start to where they finish, what you end up going to having is these silos of information.
It's almost like I think that the problem is they have call to actions, but it's not attached to a sales funnel. So you have a call to action and it just hits a brick wall and nothing happens after it. I mean, here's my email, send me your newsletter, and then the newsletter doesn't have a call to action. So it's all all over the place. It's not focused.
It's all over the place. It's almost like the normal way of calling it is an ecosphere. What's the opposite of an ecosphere?
God, yeah.
A pile of pancakes.
Yeah.
But I think, a really good example, and some people that have really nailed down inbound marketing is HubSpot. Everybody who knows of HubSpot, HubSpot is one of the leading brands when it comes to giving away digital information as far as social media, blogging, etc. When you download the ebook, you've got to put your web information in. You get some sort of follow-up. You get some sort of sales calls to actions as well. And then they keep in touch with you through effective email marketing using their platform, HubSpot 3, which is quite a high-end product.
Yep.
But it's one of the top inbound marketing platforms out there in the world right now. And so if I was to mirror an effective user journey, I would say HubSpot's got it pretty well. I mean, I think they were, if I'm not mistaken, they're known to have over 1 million opt-ins in the last year alone.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. And I like it's almost like the Huffington Post approach to their content is they're getting other people to create. You're an expert. You create a little mini book. This is how you make it work with HubSpot, and we'll just put it through our little system.
Yeah, and I think that's really where business is going. I think it's a funnel of a balance between social, interactive content, engagement, influence, and then the marketing funnel as well. Speaking of the Huffington Post, I don't know if you're aware of this, but The Art of Marketing is coming to town in September, and Arianna Huffington from the Huffington Post is one of the speakers. And
wow.
I'm actually going to the event.
Very good. Are you not going to be speaking on? You may be on a panel?
You know what? I wish I got to that stage. I think that's one of my 5-year plans. But, maybe if they're watching this, they might consider me to actually come up on the big stage. I might have to get a book, though, Bob. I think you and I both need to get our books out.
Yeah, I know. Well, we're duking it out on books. What chapter are you on right now?
I'm on chapter 5.
Wow. Okay. So that's 2 chapters in the last 2 weeks. You're putting the pressure on.
And then I have a ghostwriter that's proofing my chapters as well and making sure that it's sexy and readable. And again, the reader's journey, not the user journey, but the reader's journey.
Exactly.
And so I think a little bit of the book now is also storytelling a bit as well. So, but going back to The Art of Marketing, I think Scooter Braun, who discovered Justin Bieber, is also one of the speakers. I think they're interviewing him as well. Nice. So it should be a pretty good event, considering the last one had Scott Stratton and Buzz from Twitter, the founder of Twitter.
Wow.
Yeah.
Let's talk about story. We were chatting with Stephanie Scott, amazing lady. She's really about community and stuff like that. And she's on fire about story right now. Right. Why is story so critical?
Well, I mean, let's face it. People engage better to stories. Every story has a hero. Every story has a villain or a struggle or a challenge. Storytelling has been going on for years. I mean, that's the first format of information concepts that we digested when we were kids. So the art of storytelling really is one of our foundations when it comes to processing information. I think that because there's so much content out there, I was looking at Google authorships for a mortgage broker. And believe it or not, Bob, I don't know how many ways you could talk about mortgage on Google, because you've got all these different mortgage brokers talking about the same thing.
Yeah.
And there's about 50 of those links. So you sit there and go, there's going to be a plethora of information out there, but the ones that are going to be winning are the ones that actually have some sort of substance and creativity. Even when I was talking about building the foundation of my online TV show that we're about to be releasing in a few weeks, I was really impressed by this website called The Good Life Project. Mm-hmm. It's a guy that actually used quality cameras. The angles were phenomenal. The casting, the makeup, just everything was just impressive about the interviews, and they were about an hour long. In fact, I was watching an interview on The Good Life Project with Seth Godin, mm-hmm. and or Godin, as some people pronounce it, and it was just really interesting and such a artistic way of having a visual interview that I ended up watching 6 videos and learning a little bit more, and trying to order the book of the host as well. So I think that when we're looking at storytelling, we really have to focus on creativity and also just captivating the audience in many ways.
Yeah. Well, it's almost come full circle where this happened in desktop publishing. When desktop publishing first came out, everybody thought they could produce a magazine and or a newsletter, and there was just so much crap out there, and everybody was doing, and there's plethora. And then slowly it dropped off, and they started getting very professional production and beautiful looking magazines. It's the same thing that's happening with storytelling now. It's you're telling a story, and what the structure of the story and how it works with the organization is critical, of course. But then you don't slap it together. You do something that's cost effective, but doesn't look like crap. You have good audio. You have some proper art direction. You let the professionals do their job. Then you have a story. You have beautiful photography that goes with it. And then you have a dynamic a person doing Twitter and Facebook, and their engagement is entertaining and high quality. And I think that's the new level for social media. Now, everybody's tried social media. Yeah, it's great, and what I've done is awful, and I get it. Help me. Right. And then, you know, people that have a budget at least. And I think the people that are going to really, really get some awesome ROI and get some great conversion are the people that are basically saying, okay, let's do what I've been doing, but let's do it professionally. Bring in a team and make me look fantastic.
Right. And I mean, you know, it's also about qualitative infusion as opposed to quantitative infusion. I mean, not to sound like a scientist here, but when I look at quantitative fusion, it's really just the sake of having content out there and having a lot of it. And when I look at qualitative infusion, I'm really focusing more on blending the true elements of what digital storytelling is, and also investing a little bit more and telling the audience that you cared about putting this when you were producing it, as opposed to just, you know, dropping a couple of ingredients on there and hoping that it all sticks. You know, I mean, even for my TV show, we spent months in finding a proper location. We're filming out of a penthouse for the next month of August, and we've hired a film crew. We hired a video coach. We've hired a script writer. We spent months in finding the right audience members. I mean, I think that it's taken me about probably an accumulation of 12 months to just get to where we are now, which is the filming stage. And it's probably going to take us another 3 months of editing and lighting and touching up before we can actually produce it. And that's where the qualitative infusion really is going next, I would say. Yeah,
I mean, if you're going to grab people's attention, there's so much stuff out there, you really got to knock their socks off. And you can't do it. It's like, oh, maybe we'll be lucky and we'll get a double rainbow viral thing. It's like, dude, don't do it that way. Produce great content, and when you do go viral, you will go mega viral. I mean, who's Gary Vaynerchuk. He did that with his wine show. Now, that was very cost effectively done, but he put 150, he crushed it, like he likes to say. He had a good camera team put in there. He had proper lighting, and he had great wine. And he did it 5 times a week. So when it went viral, you had like 150, 200 shows. So at least that's when I picked up on him. And he went to like 600 shows.
And you know what? I think that there's some elements that even if you had, like, you know, I've seen some Gary Vaynerchuk videos where the quality might be questionable, or he might have filmed it from his iPhone. Yeah. But it's Gary. He's built his brand. He's engaging. The content is always quality. I mean, there was a video of him on a plane using these iPhones, and some people might have called him arrogant or cocky, but he was talking about how it's in his DNA to succeed. And for anyone that's winning, I'm going to use the Charlie Sheen quote here. Yep. Everyone who's winning right now or getting it can relate to that video, because at the end of the day, you know, entrepreneurship isn't sexy. It isn't for everybody. And so when it comes to Gary Vaynerchuk as well, I think that, you know, he's built on a brand where people have recognized him to the point where he can take out a few elements and still have an incredible story to tell.
Oh, well, absolutely. You can only break the rules if you've done a fantastic job before.
Exactly.
You've got a good brand, you've got good content, and say, hey, now we're going to do something crazy.
Yeah. I mean, and it's like the Bunker Show, too. I mean, anyone that goes to the Bunker Show or does these radio shows, they know they're in for engaging content, engaging interactions. So people who are part of the Bunker Project really don't care where you shoot it out of. But believe it or not, you know, the time when we did the social media day at the fan club, we had a ton of social reactions. A lot of people were like, this is cool, where did you guys do this? And because we were doing it at a live audience, there were so many people that just wanted to be a part of it. We had some incredible guests as well. So I think that, at the end of the day, you've got to focus on the elements to make it work.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, how do the average person or business entrepreneur that wants to be successful and do well in social media? What's a great strategy for them? I mean, I know content's important, but they only have so many hours in the day. Should they try and build up a community with, let's say, Twitter or Facebook, and then access or make available a whole pile of great content, or should it be happening at the same time?
So I think there's two questions there, so I'm going to answer in two parts. The first one was what are the things that you need to do on social media to stand out? So I would say that, and it's funny you're saying this because I'm actually preparing a presentation for the next few days, so I might as well give away.
Scoop.
Yeah, you're always going to get fresh content from me, Bob. So I'll get you three answers here for social media.
All right.
Number one is don't talk to everybody on social media as if they're in one voice, as if there's one audience. And I think that when it comes to social media, because you have family, stalkers, ex-girlfriends, business partners, affiliates, everybody's different. So it's better to have a customized conversation or take those conversations offline if you're looking at making an influence. It's very important to get to know the people and talk to them differently because each person is different before you decide to pitch them. So that's the first tip. The second thing I would say is if you have different platforms, do not create what I call the social islands, which is a standalone platform where you haven't updated it for 4 or 5 months. The whole point of being social is for you to be up to date and current with your conversation. So be consistent, be present, and most importantly, it's a visual reminder of who you are. And some platforms don't see your status updates. As we know with Facebook, the EdgeRank only allows you to look at 20% of your platform providers. But with something like Twitter, everybody sees you, so be consistent. And I would say the third thing, which is probably one of the most important things, is to be yourself, but keep it classy and have fun. Nobody wants to know about your dirty laundry or your conflicts. If it's negative, keep it offline or deal with it directly. Stay positive, have fun with it. Most importantly, be yourself and authentic. I think I wrote an article recently about being authentic in business, and it's the same with being on social media. You have to be authentic. Answering your second question, which was what platform to be on, per se, I would say it really goes down to each platform is there designed to have communications, but for different purposes. So if I use myself as an example, I find LinkedIn great for corporate and business contacts. I find Twitter is my underdog because it's great for first-time conversations, because it's great for transparency and networking. And then you can, move them to other platforms and massage those relationships through Facebook. And, for the nerds, we all love Google+. And for visual engagement, you'd use YouTube, I would say. So each one has a purpose. If someone can't handle all of them at one point, start with one, perfect it, and then move on to the next. But I think we're moving into a generation right now where the future generation is all about the multiple screen, which is now the new one screen, as Joe Mitchell will call it, in his 6 pixels of separation. So I think that in business today and our future generations, we're going to be integrated regardless. So it doesn't really matter if you use one or the other.
And when you say future generations, you're talking 3 to 4 years. You're not talking 20 years because it's moving
I'm going to
too
give you an
fast.
example. My nephew, he's about a year and a half. He had a laptop, and it's a little baby laptop. And so we saw him with a really big frown on his face, and I knew something was wrong. So I went up to him and I said, "What's wrong?" And he kept looking at the screen, and he started doing this. Let me just show that on the camera. He started flickering the screen on the laptop and saying broke.
Yeah.
He kept saying broke.
Yeah.
So now when he goes to a TV, he does the same thing. So I don't think when I say future generations, I'm not even thinking 5 or 10 years. I think we're already there, my friend.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The kids today are doing some amazing stuff.
Oh, it blows. Well, I got the kids a couple of Chromebooks for Christmas.
Right.
And those Chromebooks, I cannot believe how many hours they're spending watching videos and stuff like that. But they're doing amazing things that I didn't even know Chromebooks could do. And I asked them, how do you do it? And say, well, just do it. It's not like I'm going to teach you how to do it, Dad. Right. It's just like, Dad, this is, it's how we breathe.
Right.
I was
born in Africa. We didn't have any iPads. We didn't really have any visual screens or anything else.
But you had giraffes.
I had giraffes. Actually, I think I brought one of them right there.
Yeah.
But also we had like our forms of interaction and engagement and entertainment were simplistic things. I think there was a time when I played with stones and, ants. And, I just think that, kids are evolving to a smarter generation, I hope. And I think that I'm very optimistic about the digital enhancements. I'm waiting for the day and age. I'm hoping that I get to live the day and age of holograms.
Yeah. Well,
which 3D printing has already kicked in.
Yep.
I heard they printed a human organ. They just haven't figured out how to put life into it. But holograms are next, I think. What do you think?
Well, 3D is pretty amazing. I was looking at the new casts that they're making. You basically get a cast made, and it's basically this mesh. It's just as strong as a regular cast, but you can use it in the shower, and it's got holes all over it, so you can scratch your skin if it's itchy. I mean, it's like that's the two big things that casts can't do is you can't put them in the shower, and they make your arm itch like crazy. So, boom! It's an amazing opportunity.
Yeah, it's amazing where it's going.
We could wax poetic all night, but we're running out of time. How can people get a hold of you, Bosco?
You know what? I would say Bosco Anthony is my Twitter handle. If you Google Bosco Anthony, I'm on the first 40 pages of Google. That's because of all my content for authority. One more thing, if we have time, talking about a trend. Have you heard of voice search and the impact of voice search?
Well, in the sense that I don't type anything, I just say, "Hey, find this," and my computer finds it for me.
Right. Yeah. So I have an iPhone 5, and with the iPhone 5, you can now voice search on your YouTube channels, and I think you can have those features with your Android or anything else.
Oh, they've had them for years, yeah.
Right. So what's happening right now is that they're finding through SEO, which is search engine optimization, that people were lazier when it came to typing keywords, so they made it shorter. But with voice search, people are more descriptive. So, for example, if I want to look at my YouTube videos, I'll just go Bosco Anthony videos. Or I'll be more descriptive on a topic that I recently spoke about. So I think when we talk about content and relevancy of what the future trend is going to be, and I'll be talking about this at my next meetup on Wednesday on SEO, I think that we're going to start ranking for phrases and longer terminologies. I think keywords are going to turn into key sentences, if I am to make a bold prediction. Because with the infusion of voice search, it's only a matter of time when keyword funneling for those voice searches will start to be optimizable keywords. So if we're looking at optimizing content, why wouldn't we optimize longer keywords and sentences going further?
Yeah, or actually also having longer titles that are more descriptive instead of these little short, punchy ones.
Exactly.
It's like, how to master the internet. Here's 10 tips by Bosco Anthony. Blah, blah, blah.
or how to have a wicked crazy podcast by Bob Garlick.
Yeah, exactly. And drink beer.
And drink beer. So yeah, I think that's really where we're looking at as far as content trends going forward. Something to think about. But hey, what do we know? We're just digital marketers.
Exactly. We're just having fun.
Exactly.
Hey, boss, that's awesome. I think we should have you back on the show. It'd be great to chat with you about new stuff that's going, because you're doing so many cool things. But from the audience that were lucky enough to find this podcast through voice activation and enjoyed it, thank you for spending the time with us, and always a pleasure to chat with you.
Thanks for having me, Bob, and all the best. And I'm sure we'll be chatting some more and having some more wicked interviews.
Absolutely.
And tell Andrew he needs to upgrade his internet.
Poor Andrew.
Poor Andrew.
We hope you enjoyed the show, and I'm sure you will love our next guest. But until then, visit the website at maveninterviews.com for more information and links to iTunes, Twitter, and other social media platforms. If you would like to leave a message, please call 1-877-636-1474. You never know, it might be you featured on the show.